Take a moment to consider the parrot. It talks constantly, making a lot of noise, but it rarely leaves the comfort of the lower canopy. Compare that to the eagle. The eagle is largely silent, yet possesses the raw physical willpower to reach the upper atmosphere. Most of us eventually hit a frustrating wall in our careers or personal lives. We plateau because, from an early age, society trains us to echo what we hear and prioritize staying comfortable, exactly like that parrot. When a serious challenge rolls in, the default human reaction is to retreat. We find a quiet branch, hunker down with people who think exactly like we do, and wait out the bad weather in stagnation. Surpassing that limit involves a precise psychological realignment. It is a transition from reactive survival toward a predatory, intentional focus. To move beyond average limitations, we need to deconstruct the mechanics of this perspective, starting with the way an eagle ruthlessly manages its environment. High achievers begin by conducting a cold, honest audit of the people they allow into their immediate orbit. In the wild, eagles operate at altitudes where smaller birds simply cannot survive. They fly alone, or they fly exclusively alongside other eagles. If you surround yourself with sparrows and ravens, people who complain or drag your ambition down, you will eventually sink to their altitude. You have to actively sever ties with narrow-minded influences. Once that airspace is clear, you need absolute clarity. This visualization shows how an eagle locks its visual focus on a target 5 kilometers away. Even when dense foliage or bad weather intersects their line of sight, they never break that visual connection. When you combine that kind of aggressive, unwavering focus with a highly curated inner circle, you create a space where daily distractions and negative influences are systematically eliminated. But controlling your environment is only the baseline. The next step is changing the way you interact with sudden crises and fear. An eagle will routinely engage prey much larger and stronger than itself. They never calculate the odds of losing based on the sheer size of the problem in front of them. You see this same instinct when the weather turns. While smaller, weaker birds panic and scatter into the trees at the first sign of a storm, the eagle actually gets excited as the dark clouds gather. This diagram breaks down the physical mechanics of that reaction. Instead of fighting the wind, the eagle deliberately seeks out the raging updrafts. They use the turbulent energy of the storm itself to physically lift their own mast higher. By letting the storm do the heavy lifting, they quickly punch through the thick cloud cover. Up here, in the calm skies above the chaos, they can simply glide and rest their wings. High achievers apply this same logic to professional crises. By leaning into the turbulence of a market shift or a personal setback, they harvest the energy of the disruption to reach heights that remain inaccessible during periods of stability. Generating that kind of momentum requires a massive amount of internal energy, which relies on the ability to shed your own past. An eagle absolutely refuses to scavenge dead meat. It only consumes fresh prey that it hunted itself. In human terms, this means refusing to rely on yesterday's accomplishments. You cannot sustain growth by feeding off your past successes. This demand for growth starts early. Mother eagles will actively tear the soft grass out of their own nests. They intentionally make the environment physically uncomfortable, so the young birds eventually choose to fly. Later in life, this test of vitality becomes much more severe. As an eagle ages, its feathers weaken and its talons dull. To survive, it retreats to a remote mountain peak. In complete isolation, it smashes its own beak against the rocks until it breaks off, and then systematically plucks out its own weakened feathers. It is an agonizing, bloody ordeal. But after waiting in the harsh elements, a sharp new beak grows in. Fresh talons emerge. The eagle regains its vitality and takes flight stronger than it was before. True, long-lasting growth demands this exact level of deliberate pain. You have to willingly strip away the comfortable habits, routines, and outdated identities that no longer serve you. Aligning your environment and committing to this cycle of evolution changes the utility of a challenge. Over time, the same obstacles that once stalled your progress begin to provide the necessary friction to generate lift. You realize that success is never a static destination. It is certainly not a soft, comfortable nest you finally get to retire in. Take a hard look at your current trajectory. Identify exactly where you are trying to sustain yourself on past victories. or where you've retreated into the branches to avoid an incoming storm. Shed the habits that add zero value to your day. Abandon the illusion that your comfort zone is keeping you safe. And finally, take flight.